What is happening, guys? Welcome back to Redbeard's Garage, and on today's episode we're going to be working back on the diesel Deuce. We put a 3-cylinder Kubota diesel on this old school Manco Deuce side-by-side chassis, and today Dave is on the lathe making our stub axles, basically converting the original club car axles off of this diff into some pucks so we can bolt Miata CVs to them. So enjoy him throwing some chips, and we'll get at you when he's done. So these are the hubs that we made for the CVs. These will bolt right to Miata CVs, and also we recessed, like the Miata has a little hub-centric like plug on the back of them. So these will automatically center when we put them on the Miata CV. Then we can TIG weld some bolts, probably 3/8 fine thread, grade 8 in the back that'll bolt to the CVs. We'll show you all that. But Dave has machined up some slugs that'll basically, they're press fits, and they're bored out to fit our existing club car axle shafts. So we'll basically be welding these hubs onto the existing axle shafts, which is probably not the greatest idea, just in case we ever broke one, but this is how we decided to do it for strength. All right, so I'm gonna explain what's going on back here and what me and Dave just made. So basically we took the original straight axles, cut them down, and Dave made me a bushing, and I welded that to the original axle. Then before we had our lathe running, we had this piece made, which is basically a puck with a 4x4 lug pattern, 4x100. That's what a Miata CV actually bolts to the rear end with. So a Miata CV will bolt right to this, and it has that hub-centric circle in there that'll center everything up. And we can also run our disc brakes on, this is not a locked diff. So, you know, it can kick palsy sometimes, sometimes not. So we can have a brake on each side, on the inside, and that'll be really nice. We don't have to worry about doing them out here on our trailing arms. So now we have this done. I'm real curious to see if I can swap out the factory generator with an alternator, so I'm gonna try that real quick. So let's go on to that. So we have an adjuster, which is a 12 mil. So we'll loosen it, and we'll need a ratchet on the lower one. So basically when you loosen this upper bolt and this lower one, you can tilt the alternator in. You can tell this belt's been pretty much stretched out over its life because this is almost at its end of its travel. So almost at its end of its tension. Our seat will be right here. We do need to make some type of firewall just to keep, you know, anything from ever happening and hurting the driver. But we'll get a ratchet, pull this out, and remove this thing, see if we can fit that. We're definitely going to use it either way. We can maybe remake this if it's too tall. So there's that generator, has a little heat shield. We don't necessarily need this because there's no heat around this anymore. But these are pretty interesting. They don't put a ton of charging output, but if you had just electric start, maybe a light bar, this would be fine. But we're gonna be running a lot of, we're gonna have a winch and all that stuff. So I'm gonna make sure to put my charging output out. Let's see. So it looks like we're gonna have to remake the upper, but the lower seems like it's going to work. I'm gonna drill these threads out because this is threaded, so I can slide a bolt through and thread into the block, and then we can build up our tensioner. So a little problem I'm running into is this is my oil in to my turbo, and we got that 4AN line running. It's going to hit the alternator, and I really need this alternator rocked as much towards the block as possible because we're going to buy a bigger or a shorter belt, a new shorter V belt. So I'm going to have to clock that oil line real quick to get it out of the way, and I just need to make sure it doesn't lay against the header. I just have to use some type of heat shielding right there so that doesn't set or build. Actually, what I'll do is I'll come off one of these and build a spacer that holds this out so it won't get on anything. All right, so what are we doing?
So we're doing the steering right now. Gregory's about to TIG weld the steering wheel to the steering shaft.
Got a quick release like we've been using off of Amazon. And Go Power Sports, I don't know if they still have this, but I've had this for 5 years. This is aluminum racing steering wheel, and I like that it's the boxy style shape to give your knees more room. So I'm gonna TIG weld that on.
We're gonna put this support in. I'm gonna bevel the top of this to fit this 1-inch tubing, and then 3/4 inch.
Yeah, 1-inch tubing here. Yeah.
I was right. Anyway, so you see it's a little long. I'm gonna bevel it to where it fits snugly right there, and then Gregory can TIG weld that, and we will be moving on.
Yeah, so that'll give us a support down here in this heim joint, or this U joint, setup. This is a Go Power Sports rack. This is my favorite rack because it's all metal body. The ones I used to use off Amazon's aluminum, and we have broke one before. And this is a really nice, smooth, you could put collars around this, and we're going to do a secondary brace, which is lock collars. I think this is 1 1/4, and they'll weld to this plate right here. I have double the strength. So once we got this done, I don't know if I'm gonna do tie rods today, but that's the last thing with the front end, tie rods, and weld those bolts in. Those bolts are just sitting in there. They need trimmed, welded, and then the A-arms need welded out, but we are gonna try to get the shocks mounted. And they're right there. We're using 150 rear shocks from Go Power Sports for the front, 300cc rear shocks for the rear. Trying to button up a bunch of stuff up here, and then I gotta build trailing arms. And the alternator fits nice behind the seat. We switched out that generator for an alternator that you seen earlier. I need to build my bracket so we can tension it, but that's where the alternator will sit. So now we'll have a 70 amp alternator instead of that low amp generator. Becca's got her hand on my no-no parts. On my butt. Don't get your panties in a wad. All right, so he's gonna bevel that out. Here you go. I'm gonna trigonometry weld this puppy.
I've already started. I got in trouble for it.
Look at this, Becca.
Is that 1 inch?
No. Yeah.
Fits perfect. All right, back to work.
Go real deep on it. So this is my old lathe chuck, and it is super handy for things like this. We're going to make a pad for it so it actually bolts to my table, which will be awesome. So this is what I'm able to do. If I can clamp that square, it'd be, like I said, nice if I could. And now I can trigonometry weld it around there, and then weld the back side of it. So I'm gonna do that real quick. Where's my other glove at? Woo, look at that. That's a real pretty part. When does that start getting old?
A long time ago.
I'm gonna still keep using it. Galvanized. Why does galvanized smell so delicious? It does. It sometimes smells like bacon.
What?
Yeah, it does.
Deeper.
No, as long as it's good and even. Make sure it's good and even, Stevens. Well, our bench grinder died. Oh my goodness, look at that, look at that. Our bench grinder died, so we're having to hand notch all those.
A few moments later.
So this was a cheap Heim joint. FK bearings. Sounds quality. But this was a cheap Heim joint we had. And one thing to note is Lonnie notched it wrong. That's a beautiful notch too. Beautiful hand engraved notch. Okay, so I've had these on the shelf for like 4 years. These are, I wouldn't trust these for suspension. Do you want to start over with a new one? Because I think once you go down,
it will be too short.
Too short, yeah.
I'll have to. I just gotta replicate that and turn it.
Yeah, if there's a way, I would love to put it in the notcher because it'd be in 2 seconds, but you know, where there's a will, there's a way. Where there's not a way, where there's a will. So we got another one of these cheap boy 27s, and I never used them, so we'll just keep this one for random. This will work on something else, like a side steering project. If we ever need to steer something from the side, we're ready.
I can knock them babies out one every couple minutes. We can get a business going here.
Don't replicate it.
But
Agitate it. What?
I don't think that's a real thing.
So these come in line with the. You want? No, you don't need this.
No.
Well,
Oh my gosh, this thing won't turn at all.
yeah, that one's rough. That's why I didn't use them.
They're quality.
Yeah, I got them in the mail and was like, these are garbage. Now that's why we use QS component time joints because they really nice. I like them.
Are you going into this project with confidence?
Yes, I know now. In line with it, not opposite.
Too far. Oh, too far again. Weird. Harbor Freight has a rod bender, and I saw it and I said, I want that.
I want that.
It ain't gonna match.
No.
What if I go in more? I mean, do I like the bend? Absolutely not. See, it's not pretty.
Yeah.
I
But
was just trying it.
But if it matches, ish.
Okay, so new plan. So what I'm doing is this is going to be sheet metal and it's going to weld on each side of the steering wheel, and we're going to cap it off with this 5/16 or 3/8 round stock. The reason we doing that so you don't have a sharp edge and it makes it strong. Yeah. So this was dumb. It was. I'll let Lonnie have an idea for once.
That was not my idea. He actually made fun of me because I said it would be too hard to do.
Now it's too hard to hear?
Yes.
All right, so we need to go past this. Do I think propane's gonna get hot enough? Probably not, but we're gonna try propane first, then we'll put on MAP gas. We're just trying to get, I mean, it probably honestly will. We ain't trying to get it like crazy hot, but
we do need it crazy hot.
we do need it pretty dang hot. Dare I say crazy hot?
Speed it up.
Oh, let's do it.
Oh, dang. That's sick. I just make dad noises behind the camera.
Do you think?
I don't know. Looks better than the first one, that's for true.
I was like, what's going on here? So it's going to be a lighter or wider radius, but I think that's going to work. Because all I can do is adapt this, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That'll do.
that'll work.
Donkey.
That'll do, donkey. That'll do. So, I mean, I think that'll work.
It looks rolled, honestly.
Yeah,
It doesn't look too kinked.
it don't look bad. We got a little sharp corner here, but the heat stayed on it too, you know what I mean, when I pulled it away. Now I have no fingerprints.
Well, at least you can like go murder
Probably.
somebody or.
Whoa, I was thinking like rob a bank or something, get a little extra walk around money.
I will need some walk around money. Ooh yeah. It's not clogged.
Okay, so unfortunately, I don't think I have another piece of 3/8. We gotta do this one more time and then we can trim to the size we need, and then we're gonna adapt this template to this by just laying it where it's really
Marking
close to the edge, yeah, and then just marking it, and then we'll make 2 of these. Get that tacked on and we can finish up our steering. That ham joint feel good?
Yep.
Gosh dang it, my fingerprints feel like plastic.
Look at this pile.
Don't. Listen. This is just coming off a crazy SEMA 3-week build.
That is true. There's always a pretty decent pile here though.
Oh, there's mess up bends, and you guys just see the beauty of it. I mean, we actually didn't mess up on that much bends, but there was obviously offcuts. I keep all the small offcuts. I just haven't organized it.
Well, how much of this was the original front end as well? Because you hated it. And
Oh
cut it off.
yeah. Probably 40%. Okay.
40% of the time it works every time. There we go.
Test it out, man.
She works, baby.
Scoochie. I was going to show how it is for two. We'll have doors on it, little half doors. So that'll be better. Lonnie has a perfect.
I love how they do it for the passenger too, with your little foot stop and handlebar.
Oh, that's perfect. Because this is how I set my foot.
Yeah, crooked kind of.
Yeah. That's just like going to go get milk or something. One day I'm going to build you a house on top of that hill. Steering with your arm, you know.
One day seems to never come.
Alright, but I like this steering wheel though.
Oh, it's super
It could have been up higher, but I feel
No,
like
I
it's
think
good.
that felt more comfortable than I think it would have right here. To me.
We took that rod we bent and we TIG welded it to this 1/8 inch steel, did some trimming and fitting, so that's going to weld in right there, and we have another one that'll weld in, you know, it's the opposite of this one, but weld in right here and stop right at this handle, and that'll give me an area for my glow plug light, my key switch, headlight switch, and the kill switch on this is you're actually shutting the fuel off. It's like a choke, but it's reverse. When you pull it, it kills the engine. You can kill it with the switch, but that's just in case you get a runaway diesel. You can boop, and so that's going to be pretty sweet. We'll have a full, and this, you know, if Lonnie was to jab his leg against it, perfect.
I'm safe.
Don't forget to check out rbgcarts.com. We got merch on there, baby. And also, it should be located below the video. Who knows though? We got.
I may do that.
Cool. Cool. Alright, probably didn't get a ton done in this video, but we did get those axle stubs made. So that's one huge thing off the list. Now I can build the trailing arms in the next episode and also finish out the front end. Basically all we have to do is mount these shocks on the front and make our tie rods, and everything with the front is done. Oh yeah, and weld those bolts. But we got that Heim joint all welded in there, super nice. So now our steering linkage is all in there and super fancy pants. Our battery will go in front of the passenger side floor, like floor pan area, and then we also got most of our dash installed, and we did that 3/8 round bar around that so you don't scuff yourself. It's all just tacked, and I'm going to fill that in and put something in there. And then we also have our key switch, and that hole is for this, which is for the glow plugs. When you turn the key backwards and hold it, it turns on the glow plugs, and when this wire inside there lights up cherry red, you know your glow plugs is hot. Pretty rudimentary setup, but pretty cool. And I wanted to keep that original style setup. Make sure to stay tuned in. After Vegas, we're going to get back and knock this thing out, and my daughter's candy cart that we're putting the 625 on. And also make sure to check out the links in the video description. Go Power Sports has supplied a ton of parts. All the steering stuff, we're using the shocks and everything from Go Power Sports. Awesome company, awesome parts. So check them out. This is going to be one beefy little go-kart. So can't wait to see this thing run. When we get back from Vegas, we'll do those trailing arms. And yeah, guys, support us by telling Go Power Sports we sent you when you do use our links, and that helps us out a ton. There's also some Amazon links, Centurial Tools. They help us out a ton with building all this stuff, holding stuff in place. So check those out. Show them some love that shows us some love. We love you guys, and God bless. Pray for us. We're going to Vegas, Sin City.